I'm Tanisha. I'm a clinical psychologist and a psychodynamic psychotherapist and the founder of Oku. I founded this place because there were moments in my life where I needed a holding that was deeper, that was not expecting anything out of me, but just to show up the way I am, and a place that's going to be there for me as I navigate life. And therefore, Oku was born. Some wounds don't always show up as symptoms. They show up in the way we relate, the way we operate in the world, the choices we make, the decisions we make, what we seek, what we chase, and what we choose to silence. My work begins in those spaces, those quiet, unsaid spaces, where pain doesn't necessarily announce itself when it shows up. It just shows up. And then therapy is about creating a holding environment for that. By training, I'm a clinical psychologist with a background in psychodynamic psychotherapy. However, I like to keep my approach more eclectic or more tailored to the situation in front of me, because I feel like people are different, the way they understand the world is different. What would work for one may not work the same way for another. And additionally, I also feel like during the course of therapy, which is usually long-term for my approach, there are moments where one kind of insight would work better, and there are other moments where support may become more important. And so I like to not tie myself down to one particular modality so much, but I do rely on a psychodynamic lens to understand anyone, which is to say that you're trying to really think about not just what is presented, what is being spoken about, or what is consciously known, but also what one unconsciously feels or is driven by, which may not be very obvious, but is quite apparent in their patterns maybe, or even in their narrative, it does come up. And so my job would be to find that, to bring that up, to allow you to metabolize it, which is the way to move forward for anyone with whatever conflict they're going through, and with the hope that we do not repeat. Work with me is usually mid to long term, because I believe in going into the depths of one's lives, starting all the way from their childhood and till now. So initially, a lot of history is being explored. I would be asking questions which would help me understand what you're all about, what your life has been like, what are your experiences, and how they have shaped you. Based on that understanding, and also a grasp of your trauma or how you responded to it, how your early relationships were with your caregivers, it would tell us a lot about what shows up for you in present time, in your relationships, in your life, within yourself. So it is that lens that becomes important to explore, which is something that happens over time. And therapy with me would also have an element of support. So therapy is not so much about fixing you, but exploring and understanding, because once we understand our own fabric, once we understand the complexities of what a human life is, we are able to better navigate it. And so our communication with ourselves improve. We're able to identify what's going on within us better over time in therapy, and then we're able to also communicate ourselves, our needs with others more effectively. That would bring people closer, that would bring you closer to what you're hoping for in life. And that said, it is not a successive set of steps. It is not linear in the sense that, this is like a program where I give you a set of exercises to practice and then, one day you're just cured. It doesn't work like that. It's an ongoing process, just like life. And the healing is based on the equation we build together. The therapeutic relationship becomes the central focus of the work. The here and now of the session becomes important. In sessions, often not only do meaningful insights come up, but also there are moments where we are within session replaying certain patterns, and that's the moment we have a big breakthrough if we are able to look at that and pause and take a moment to really recalibrate and understand, okay, this is how I operate maybe in relationships, because a therapeutic relationship is also, one person speaking with another person, trying to understand the other. And in that frame, it gives you an opportunity to hold the safe space that therapy is, where the therapist is not expecting anything out of you like a loved one or a friend would, and they're not trying to project onto you their own needs. And then that space is just about you, and within that you get to replay or reenact certain ways you may be operating in your relationships outside of therapy. And therapy with me would help you explore that and to really see it for real, that this is how I may be playing out certain patterns, and then you have the power to really choose not to, or to do things differently. I think I work really well with people who are experiencing pain, who've known some kind of loss, who've struggled to find a meaning to their life, a purpose, or just those who may have experienced trauma in the past, or maybe may have had difficult childhoods, or maybe navigating some kind of subjective experiences based on their identity, their gender, etc. I feel like this is a space that I'm able to hold for you, for us to together navigate what this means, what this has meant so far. So in our work together, we will move slowly with intention and wait for moments where there is a breakthrough, or there is a catharsis of sorts, a feeling that shows up fully, finally. And my approach is curious, and yet it's supportive. So you could say that my approach is for the person. So I hope you will see me in the session and we get to explore you together.